Stewardship, as I understand it, is managing something that you're responsible for. And I feel that as Christians, we are called to manage God's kingdom on earth. And I feel that when Sharon Morgan and I teach 4th through 6th grade Sunday school, we are empowering them to further God's kingdom as they begin to reach other people. It's a win-win situation. They ask questions that provoke us to think harder, and as we take care of them, they are taking care of us in turn. I love teaching Sunday school. It's my favorite thing to do, and I think it's very much a part of what stewardship is.
My name is Jerry Kelly, and I've been a member of the First United Methodist Church in Brewton for 70 years. And when I found my time to make a pledge or make a contribution or a gift, no matter how much I give, even if it's a stretch, I have an asset that will increase unexpectedly in value, more than I've given to the church. And I call that not being able to outgive God. And for most of my life, I would not pray for success. I felt like it was too trivial or too personal. But after several years ago, I asked a preacher friend of mine, should you pray for success? And he told me, yes, you should, but you got to remember to do the right thing with what you're successful with. My gifts have been not for my ownership, but for my stewardship.
Well, I've been a member of this church for over 50 years now, and as a teenager I sang in the choir. We had a lot of teenagers singing in the choir back then, so it means a lot to me because I love singing. I also like to sing with the preschoolers at Sunday school. The other big program that I'm involved with is the Acolyte Crucifer program, which I've been doing, I think, between 6 and 8 years. And that is something I really enjoy because I'm working with the same age kids that I taught for 35 years, middle school kids. And I always encourage people to do as many church things as they can do, because the church family is just like my regular family, you know, and I think there are a lot of people that just come on Sundays to 11 to 12 and they don't come to Wednesday nights. And there's so many ways that you can get involved in the church and help different groups of people, and it helps yourself too. I think it has helped me. And so as I get older, I think the more I do, the better.
Stewardship can mean different things to different people, but to me, it's giving back what God has so richly blessed you with. And I challenge anybody that is not involved in any type of ministry of the church to get involved in it. It's going to force you to do more and give more. In Escambia County, Alabama, there are a tremendous amount of people that need a wheelchair ramp for whatever reason, maybe some special steps. And we go out and when we get calls that come in through either hospice or the home health care workers, or maybe people call directly to the church, these are people that can't afford to go out and hire carpenters or a construction crew, and we go out and we take measurements and look what they need and come back and custom build a ramp that fits their needs. And right now, as of the other day, we were at like 291. We've got a couple of built this week, and we're just proud of what we do. It kind of gives you that good feeling to know that you help somebody that can't help themselves.
Many different people in the Bible of giving. I see where I've been giving, but they give their first fruits, their 10%. And that's something that I didn't grow up really with and understanding and knowing. But as I became an adult, understanding more of the importance. But then actually when I started to do that, I feel like there's more been a change inside me, and that I give from a grateful heart and thankful heart. Initially I started doing the offering plate just as that was kind of what everybody does, but I found that the option that the Methodist Church gives us here is that we have an option to give online. And for me, it's really convenient. It really is, because as soon as for me to ultimately give my first fruits, a lot of times that's what comes out first of my deposit, and so it goes into my account and then it goes to the church. And so I really ultimately feel like I am giving my first fruits to God and to our church. And so It's made it very easy and convenient for me that I don't really have to think about it, but I do prayerfully consider that offering that I give, for that it be to glorify the kingdom of God.
I think about in the church with our children to teach them stewardship. We started off by taking our tithe and dividing it among our children. And we started giving them a quarter a week to put in the offering envelope. As they got older, we raised that to 50 cents. And then as they got older, we finally made $1. And of course, by then they were teenagers in school and began to earn their income in various jobs, and we encouraged them to give. So stewardship to me means involving your whole life in being blessed and being a blessing to others under the grace of God. That puts the spiritual tone on me. And if I don't practice good stewardship, I'm in trouble with the Lord, and maybe I've hurt other people in my life.
I've been involved with the Kids for Christ youth ministries and stuff. We take kids that are at the elementary school, and they come and learn about God with us, and it's a pretty good program. I've learned a lot through it, just like how the kids are growing up in the community. We're going to take a youth trip to Pigeon Forge. It's supposed to be in the mountains of Tennessee. It's supposed to be really good, and I'm excited on going to it. I really hope that we have a good time and people grow in their faith.
I like this church a lot, and the children's ministry is really good because we have Kids for Christ and Sunday school, and I'm in the 4th through 6th grader Sunday school, and our teacher's Miss Anne Marie Sasser, and there's a lot of fun kids here and fun teachers.
Everything we have or own, God entrusted to us. It is a loan, and we will be judged on how we manage that loan. Action is the voice of our faith. We are ambassadors to Christ, of Christ, to non-believers in our sphere of influence. It's not if we are ambassadors. God has already decided that. It's a question of what kind of ambassador we will be. God has already done his part in sending his son Jesus. And for whatever reason, he has chosen us to complete this journey of reconciling the world to him through us, spreading this gospel.
Several years ago, our minister said, "We are adopting the Brewton Elementary School." And I guess we did. And a number of us go over there once a week, and we tutor in whatever our expertise is. I tutor in reading once a week, and it's a very fulfilling experience. The children learn to love you because they get attention from you, and we help them. The mission that we have that I really, really love is Soup for the Soul. Every now and then, a group of ladies get together and we make soup, and then we freeze it. And if you know of a person who is shut in, or a person who's just come home from the hospital, or whatever, and needs food, you can go to the freezer and take soup to that person.
Well, I guess the word stewardship to us means that you're participating financially in God's ministries. So, and doing so in a way that's sacrificial. By doing so, then you can participate in the blessings of the ministry as well. So, and I think as far as the giving aspect and tithing, it really, for us, has come down to the point of if God is who we say he is, then that should follow, and our finances should reflect that. You can't outgive God, and we found that to be true as well, that you can't, for the sacrifice it makes in giving that portion back, the things we've seen come back with other, not necessarily financially, but just other things. I don't think we quite grasp how much more than it would be than what we sacrificed.
Backpack Buddies is a mission of the First United Methodist Church that provides food for the weekend for elementary and middle school age children in our community. A lot of children don't have, that Friday afternoon is their last meal at lunch, their last nutritious meal, and they do not get another nutritious meal until Monday at lunch. So this kind of fills the gap in, and we modeled this after a lot of nationwide programs that have been successful with test scores and behavior. So we help them by providing extra food for their family.
The food pantry is open on Tuesdays, and we serve people in Escambia County who need help with their food. And it really has been a lot to me to see the gratitude that they feel. And we always make them feel welcome, and not that we're doing them a favor, but that we're helping them because we want to. Communities of Transformation is a program where a group of people, volunteers, work with participants who their life has just been sidetracked. They need someone to help them find a new direction. We give them encouragement and help them establish a new life plan, and it's really been satisfying. We had one young lady who had been she'd gotten off track. She has gone back to and completed the RN program at Jefferson Davis and is now employed. So it's just a matter of giving of yourself.
The Bible says, be ye doers of the word. That's what stewardship is all about. It's doing. Doing with a heart of love. Ironically, God heaps blessings on the doer as much as he does on the receiver. And I think, or the receiver of the gift. And I think it's pretty awesome to watch God work in this way.
You know, one thing that I always think back about as a young businessman was that something that my dad told me a number of times, and you know, he struggled maybe when he was young, maybe didn't give 10% to his church, but he said to me on several occasions, he said, I never really did well until I started to tithe, to give 10% or to give more than 10%. He said, you know, I thought that I couldn't afford to give 10%, but I learned that I really couldn't afford not to give 10%. And the more I gave back to God and to my church, the more I was blessed and the more I received. And so I have found that to be true in my own life when, you know, as a young adult trying to give 10% when I maybe had a new mortgage and a car payment and a young family, but you need to try your very best to give that 10% and even more if you can. And I'm thankful for everything that I've been given, and I just truly believe that you must give back to God a portion of what he gives to you, and the more you give, the more you're going to be blessed. I have found that to be absolutely true in my life.
One of my favorite things is participating in the fun activities that we do, like Wednesday night and just being there with friends. We're right now doing a study about candy, and each candy is related because, like, last week we did milk duds. It's related because they're sticky, and we were talking about how you should stick to God. We do choir, and we don't just perform at the church, we perform at nursing homes sometimes. We have this thing called Children's Sunday, and it's once a year, and it's when the children kind of take over the church, and they're like, I'm doing the offertory, I'm doing the announcements, I'm being one of the ushers. And so it's like they get to do everything for one Sunday, and it's such a special time.
I had the good fortune to be on the board for the children's home, and it was wonderful to go up and see what our money does for these children.
we can take a pregnant mother in and see her through childbirth, see her through the first year, and then on after that. I've talked to children who have grown up in the children's home and then gone on to college to come back to be a counselor at the children's home. We do so much, and for me, it's very important to remember what the scripture said. Be doers of the word, not just hearers only.
When we joined the church, we made a commitment to God and to the church that we would give of our gifts, our talents, and whatever else that we might be able to do to support the church. So these are the things that are important to me, is that without our gifts, the church does not succeed. The church is, to me, is like any business, and I've been in business a long time. It has to have an income to succeed. And so therefore, when we give of our gifts, we're supporting the church that our forefathers had the future to look forward to build this beautiful place for us, and now it is up to us to maintain it and carry it forward.
I remember growing up and I learned how to give by my mother and from my mother. When I grew up, my mom did her budget every year, and I remember typing it out for her on our old word processor. And at the top of her budget, not at the bottom, was her stewardship. And that is the first time as a child that I learned about giving to the church and giving back to God. So I learned from an early age that that was important, and I've always remembered that through my life. And what I know about that now as an adult is my mom was a single mom with two young girls who were, of course, probably more demanding than we should have been, as many of our children are. We were very active and had a lot of wants and a lot of needs. But my mom put giving to God first, and she always was blessed with plenty and more than enough to provide for her family. So that's my first experience with stewardship and with giving back to God. I feel that it's important to give back to the church because I've been blessed with life and goodness and abundance, as God is so good to me and my family, and to probably all of us who are watching this video. I mean, we're here and we're alive, and that's wonderful. God never leaves us, and I know that. And I've learned the difference between being thankful and being grateful. Somebody shared this with me, and I don't know if this is always true, but I think of it like this a lot of times. Being thankful is just being thankful. And being grateful and having gratitude is wanting to give back. So when I give back to the church, it's not that I do it out of duty. I do it because I want to. I'm so grateful for the gifts God has given me, my life, my children. I'm going to start crying. Everything God has given me. I feel so wonderfully blessed that I literally want to give back to Him because I have such gratitude.